same-sex marriage. Log on to tyrashow.com after the show and let us know what you think. Now, Sam Harris shot to stardom because of his amazing singing voice. But these days, it's his strong words about gay marriage that have him back in the spotlight.
California, the most progressive state in this country, voted to pass a law which makes me and my family and my child second-class citizens.
As an openly gay parent and a multi-talented performer, Sam Harris uses his star power to entertain and educate.
I sense no prejudice at all, and yet, clearly, I'm surrounded by it.
But now, the 30-year career that started when Sam was crowned the grand champion of Star Search is in danger of being overshadowed by the outcry over his passionate opinions on Proposition 8.
It's the first time in California history that the Constitution will be amended to actually discriminate and take away rights that had been granted to all people, and to the gay community specifically.
According to Sam, black voters should have helped defeat Proposition 8.
The black community was probably the group that actually put this over and made this win. This is a civil rights issue. This is your issue. And here we are, have elected this progressive, incredible man who happens to be black. I'm sorry this has tainted the victory of Barack Obama, but I feel betrayed.
Sam's opinions have sparked an outrage on the internet. But Sam is not backing down.
What happens in California is often followed in the United States. It is simply discrimination. This is wrong. It is wrong.
So, Sam, you say you feel wronged by the black community and betrayed. Talk about that some more. Explain that.
Right after the election, we were told that the black community, the majority of the black community voted for Proposition 8.
Mm-hmm. And explain what Proposition 8 is.
Proposition 8 is a... Okay, what happened is in California, gay people were given the right to marry. The Supreme Court decided that it was unconstitutional for all people to not have the right to marry. Well, so then some religious groups came in and said, all right, well then let's change the Constitution. So they came in and created Proposition 8, which amended the Constitution to prohibit, to ban gay marriage.
Yes. And voting yes on Proposition 8 means?
Voting against me.
Yes. Okay. So, now talk about the black community with Prop 8.
Well, I was, initially, we were told that the black community, that the majority of the black community voted to ban same-sex marriage for Proposition 8. Since then, I have learned that that is not necessarily true. The polls now suggest that in the same way that very religious people voted for Proposition 8, the same thing was true in the black community. When I said I felt betrayed in that moment, it's because the black community, they're my people. And if you've heard me sing. And but also this is a civil rights issue. This is not a gay issue. This is a human rights issue. And who better should understand that than the black community? I have since learned that that is not true. The black community is not for this any more than anyone else is. But it was disconcerting.
Why do you think they're not?
I'm talking
about majorities. I'm talking about people that voted. I don't mean all black people.
Right.
Let's talk about the people that voted. Why voted not in your favor? Yes, for it.
I think there were several things. I think some of the churches really pushed this. I think that it's a little antiquated. I think that also, boy, man, I heard some stories. I know from a friend firsthand that there were some robocalls made.
What's a robocall?
A robocall, you know, where those calls you get on your answering machine right before the elections when they're calling to tell you how to vote, right? Robotic calls.
Oh, got it.
Right? Well, they had taken Barack Obama's voice, who, by the way, came out against Proposition 8. And sampled and retooled that voice to suggest that he was supporting it.
Oh, wow. And then they mass-called people with that?
They mass-called people and targeted the black community.
Wow. Okay, tell me about your family, about your family now.
My family, my partner Danny and I are married. We have been together for nearly 14 years. That's our baby boy. Okay,
so you're married, like legally married?
Yeah.
Okay, so because you did it before Proposition.
We did it before.
You did it before he's adorable.
He's beautiful, that's true.
Big, beautiful eyes. So you got married before it was overturned.
We got married, yes, just before it was overturned.
Okay.
And they cannot revoke it. So far, they cannot revoke our marriage.
Okay.
And we got married for our child. You know, I don't need the law, after being together so long, I don't need the law to validate my relationship. But for our child and for the rights that come with the word marriage, There are 1,100 some odd rights that come with the legal word marriage that I am entitled to as a tax-paying citizen of this country and for my child.
What worries you the most for same-sex couples that cannot get married when it comes to the law?
There are so many.
Name some that just you can.
Well, there are rights. You know, for instance, like if your spouse is in the hospital. You know, the law says that blood relative is the one who makes those decisions. It doesn't. If the marriage is not recognized, that means your partner. You may have spent your entire life with that person, and they can't come in there and provide care or make decisions about. You know, there are insurance reasons. There are travel issues. You know, we have a child. There's so many things that if the law does not recognize this as a couple, do not create equal rights.
Well, there's a lot of people that do not agree with Sam, and we're going to hear from them as well as people that support what Sam has to say when we come back. We'll be right back.
The gay community may inspire this change, but this is a civil rights issue. This is your issue. It wasn't just black people that took to the streets to demand equal rights. It was white people and white legislation and white politicians. And it's not going to be gay people that change this. It's going to be straight people that change this because it is wrong, because it is injustice, because it is unfair. It is civil rights. It is unconstitutional.
Sam Harris is just one of the millions of gay and straight people who are outraged about California's decision to outlaw gay marriage with Proposition 8. Because they feel it's a terrible blow to gay civil rights. Joining Sam are fellow gay rights proponents Kathy Middleton Lewis and Charlene Strong. And on the opposite side of the gay rights debate are Dr. Bill Meyer, Sandy Rios, and Karen Mitchell. I have to ask you, I know a lot of people are thinking this, is it truly fair to compare the plight of gay people with the plight of black people?
As a white man, I cannot pretend to know what it's like for a black person, what their definition of civil rights is. I don't know what that struggle is. I do know that the definition of civil rights, the word civil rights, is about equal rights for all, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, race, religion. And Barack Obama himself has defined this as a civil rights issue. So if he can say it's civil rights, then I can say it's civil rights.
Okay. To you, Kathy, as a supporter, I know The Advocate, the gay magazine The Advocate, had a very, very controversial cover called Gay is the New Black. As a black woman, do you feel that gay is the new black?
As both a black woman and as an attorney, I feel that gay is the new black. When you think about this issue, the reality is that you have a minority group that's being denied equal protection under the law for no other reason than because they're different. And in this nation, you had laws on the records that stated that African Americans were denied the right to marry who they wanted to marry at one point in time. And now we have laws that state the same for the homosexual community. This is wrong, it's unconstitutional, and it must change.
And I have to ask Sandy. Sandy, do you think that it's fair to compare gay rights to black plight?
No, I think it's apples to oranges. It's like the old intelligence test. There are some similarities, I grant you that. But you can stop being gay. You cannot stop being black.
Okay, who in our gay community wants to address that? You stand on up. What's your name?
Tyra.
I'm Ian.
Ian, what do you have to say to that?
I had a mother who told me that she would not pay for my prom ticket if I did not go with a woman. And I would not go with a woman because I would not do that. It's not something that I can change. If I could change it, I would love to. It would have been years of easier life if I could have changed
Have you seen the movie? As a fully heterosexual female, I can tell you how difficult it is not to have sex, too. So I understand that dilemma.
So you're suggesting celibacy is the answer for
as opposed to acting out on homosexuality or adultery or pedophilia.
Charlene, what do you have to say? Charlene?
It always amazes me that people who are not gay can tell me that that's a choice. Ma'am, I'm not sure that there's ever going to be a time in someone's life when they say, hey, you know, I think I'm going to wake up this morning and be discriminated against. I think I'm going to put on and that people walk down the street and call me derogatory comments. You don't know. You are not gay.
No,
so
I'm not gay. And I think that's true, and that's why the name...
You are not correct, ma'am.
Karen, I want to go to Karen because I know Karen sent a very passionate email about the opposition to gay rights. Why don't you tell me about how you feel? about this in terms of the black community?
I don't think you have a right to be discriminated against as far as being physically harmed because of the way you are, but I totally disagree with the fact that it's not a choice. People every day, people have, you're right, you know what, I couldn't choose my color or my skin.
I think I'm going to be gay. I've struggled with it my whole life.
You know what, everybody has
Honey,
a choice in my
shoes. Did you choose to be straight?
Walk in my shoes a day.
You chose to be straight.
I'm supposed to be straight.
Did you go through that moment of, wow, I wonder if, whoa, you're supposed to be straight?
I think that one of the biggest problems that opponents of gay marriage have is that they always look to the Bible in terms of justifying their beliefs.
Absolutely.
The bottom line is that the Bible says a whole lot of things about how people should and should not live their lives. The question is whether or not that book is relevant to the way we live in the 21st century. If we listen to the Bible, if we listen to the Bible on every single issue, the Bible says that if your right eye offend you, pluck it out. If your left hand offend you, pluck it out. If we follow that precept to the letter, we'd be walking around as a nation of people with one eye and one arm. It gets to be preposterous after that.
How do you feel about same-sex marriage or same-sex adoption? Go to TyraShow.com and share your thoughts. And while you're there, you can check out Sam Harris's single, Change is on the Way. It's from his album, Free. And I want to thank everybody for their very strong opinions. And I know you've created a lot of TyraShow.com debate. We'll see you later.
Just